In the last 5 years, only 2 men have won Britain's Strongest Man. One of those guys isn't coming back to the 2025 competition, so will we see a new champion?
And we should point out the other one is coming back from injury, the other, of course, being Adam Bishop.
Adam, obviously, I mean, he looked fantastic at Worlds in 2024, unfortunately, picking up an injury.
Yeah, nasty one as well.
It was, but he is a 2-time winner of Britain's Strongest Man, and he normally comes in very well prepared for Britain's Strongest Man. We should point out we do have another former winner of Britain's Strongest Man in Graham Hicks, who won back in 2019.
Yeah, I mean, we were just looking back at their history. This is going to be Graham's 10th Britain's, and it's Adam Bishop's 11th.
I know, you're feeling old, aren't you?
It's very aging, because I remember their first.
Yeah, well, Hicksy's first was my first win at Britain's Strongest Man.
2012.
So now I'm feeling really old.
Yeah.
But yeah, we've got a great lineup for Britain's Strongest Man. The events have been released, so we're going to dive into these athletes, tell you a little bit about them, and give you a little idea of who we think can really be worth looking out for when it comes to Britain's in 2025. So we've got a couple of new faces to the Britain's Strongest Man lineup in 2025. We're going to start off with Matt Diamond. Now, Matt won the Welsh qualifier, or Wales Strongest Man. There was no Gav Bilton in that competition.
No.
Gav has automatically qualified, so we'll talk about Gav in a minute. But Matt Diamond, really been a rising star in the British scene for the last few years, done very well at UK Strongest Man, and taking the win at the Welsh has given him this opportunity to compete at Britain's. And I know he would love to be the #1 Welsh athlete when it comes to Britain's Strongest Man. Tough task to beat an informed Gav. We haven't seen the best of Gav since Britain's in 2024, where he was second, actually, Gav was. But since then, his performances haven't been as good as maybe he would like. We will talk about Gav now, because he is the second Welsh man. And he has come second at Britain's Strongest Man. And like we say, since then, hasn't been so good. He was competing way too much, in my opinion, while he wasn't in shape.
Yeah.
Needed a bit of time off, which he's taken. Yeah. And now he's had that time to kind of put some off-season work in, work on a little few weaknesses, allow the body to recover. And we know what he is capable of when he's in shape.
Him and his wife are expecting their first baby as well. How nice.
Is lovely. Yeah, we know they were trying for that. So that is amazing news. And I think with the, you know that you're going to become a dad, it raises your spirit. I think what a man Gav is. We love seeing him, and we'd love to see him back in shape for Britain's next year.
So next we have Kane Francis. Now, Kane qualified by winning England's Strongest Man this year, and this is going to be Kane's 3rd appearance at Britain's. Both times previously he's come 5th, is that right?
Yeah, he's been 5th twice, went on and won England's Strongest Man in 2024. He's won a Champions League competition as well, competes regularly on the Champions League, but they're his 2 wins so far, England's Strongest Man and 1 Champions League win. He will want to improve on his 5th place positioning. He's established himself as one of the top guys in the country.
He's really experienced now as well.
Yeah, he's done a lot of comps, and now he needs to really push up and aim for that podium, I think. The man that came second at England's Strongest Man and a newbie to Britain's is Andrew Flynn. From that competition, he got a late invite to the Strongman Classic earlier this year, and he really held his own in what was a very strong lineup. He ended up coming 7th in that competition, but everyone really expected him to come last.
Well, yeah, when you're sort of stepping up it's such a huge leap to that level, there's no real expectation on you.
Not at all, and he coped with it perfectly, did exactly what he needed to do, showed everyone what he was capable of, had some really, really good events, and now coming to Britain's Strongest Man, he's going to want to challenge as well. You know, this is what he's been training hard for. This is where he wants to really show what he can do.
So next we have Sean Gillen. Sean won the Irish qualifier. This will be his 2nd Britain's Strongest Man. He performed there for the first time this year, where he placed 9th. Interestingly, so he won the Irish qualifier this year and last year, but both times he tied on points for 1st place and won because of the last event rule that they use for the qualifying system.
Yeah, which is the same rule they'll use at Giants Live.
Yeah.
And he has some very, very good events. He's a real powerhouse. When it comes to static events, he's really good. A couple of events need to improve, I think, if he really wants to challenge for a podium position at Britain's, but certainly look out for him on some of the real heavy static events. Another newbie to the Britain's Strongest Man lineup is Chris Beetham from Scotland. He won Scotland's Strongest Man this year, which is always a major title to win. From that, he got a very late invite to the World Tour Finals, just because some athletes couldn't make it. no prep time at all, big baptisms of fire against some of the very best in the world. Ended up coming 11th out of 12 there. But this is, again, very similar to some of the other guys. This is what they focus on. When they win that qualifier, they know they are qualifying for Britain's Strongest Man, and this is where he'll want to come in his best shape. Very athletic, has improved a lot over the last few years. Looking forward to seeing how he does in this one.
Next, we have third place at England's Strongest Man, Paddy Haynes. Now, Paddy performed at Brits for the first time this year. I think he was 10th. Not happy at all with his result. He expected much better from himself. He got a late call-up also to the World Open and the Log Lift Championships. And it was a bit of a run. Wow, you were making jokes, because log is probably his absolute worst event, isn't it? He does have some strengths, though, and he'll want a much better performance at Brits next year.
Yeah, he's going to have some good events. We'll talk about the events in a bit, but Paddy is certainly a great athlete. He's going to have learnt from that first experience at Britain's Strongest Man. I say this a lot, but when you haven't competed at a Giants Live before, it is very, very different. The pace kind of gets a lot of people. You're going against the best in the world. There's no rest time, and sometimes that first one is very much a learning experience.
Yeah.
Paddy has done very well in multiple comps this year, and we'll look forward to seeing how he does at Brits. Our next athlete's best placing at Britain's Strongest Man is 4th, so you know he is going to want to go higher than that. 4th place is almost the worst place to come, because you're so close to that podium, but you're just off it. Shane Flowers. Now, Shane has just recently competed at the Magnus Ferguson Classic. Really good to see him get back into competition after tearing his bicep earlier in the year. He is a fantastic athlete, very strong, great deadlift, moves really well, just needs to get that confidence back. You can see at the Magnus Ferguson Classic there was moments where he just questions himself, and I'm hoping that competition out the way, first time back after injury, has allowed himself to think, okay, the body's healed up well, now I can push, and a fit and healthy Shane is a contender for a title.
Yeah. Next up is Luke Richardson, and unbelievably, Luke has only done Britain's Strongest Man once before, and it was way back in 2020. He did do 2 international Giants Lives this year, and both times he was 3rd place on the podium, so expecting big things from Luke. I'm really excited to see him back here.
I think Luke is one of the people to look out for, not just at Britain's, but at any competition. 2 Giants Live podiums this year. He is starting to believe in himself once again. The body is holding out, and after a lot of bad luck that this kid's had, he's now starting to gain some experience. Can you believe he's only done 9 big shows?
I know, and it feels like he's been around.
He's been around a long time. He's only been at Britain's once before.
Yeah.
He did England's Strongest Man this year without doing the deadlift. Yeah. Ended up 4th at that competition. But since then, 2 third place finishes at Giants Live shows behind the likes of Trey Mitchell and Mitch Hooper.
Yeah.
This boy is fantastic. I say boy, I mean he's
27 now.
Fully grown man now. But he's been around for so long. He used to help out at Giants Live.
You've known him
back
since
in the day.
Boy,
And you can just, at one point, it was so intense.
Yes.
Whereas now he looks like he's
intense.
enjoying it, and I think that is helping him a lot. And for me, he's one of the favourites.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's no weakness in terms of events that are coming up in this competition. Very well-rounded athlete. Seems to be on the rise once again, and could go in as maybe the favourite. He is looking fantastic. Next up, we have Luke Stoltman, a 2-time winner of Europe's Strongest Man, but someone that has so far never managed to win Britain's Strongest Man. Same as Luke Richardson, obviously former winner of Europe's Strongest Man, so far hasn't won Brits. Both of these guys will want to add this title to their resume. Luke Stoltman obviously going to come in as one of the favourites for the competition. We'll see what kind of shape he's in. Nobody knows right now. A lot of things have been going on. But in shape, Luke Stoltman is an amazing strongman.
Next, we move on to Graham Hicks. And looking at their record, I keep seeing surprises. So Hicks hasn't done a full competition since Worlds 2023. And he's coming back to Britain's Strongest Man. Obviously, he focused on the deadlift this year. And I think it's good for Hicksy to have that focus on a full competition. And Britain's is somewhere he's performed very well before. He's been on the podium. And of course, he won in 2019.
Yeah, this will be his 10th Britain's Strongest Man contest. He is the winner, as you say, back in 2019. And certainly dangerous for everyone. Hicksy is a fantastic strongman. He does sometimes underperform. Sometimes he'll just focus on single events. So this year, it was all focused on the deadlift. But I like Hicksy in great shape, all-round shape. People forget how quick he can be. Sometimes when he bulks up and gets really big, he slows a bit down. But when he's fitter, He's very, very fast. His yoke's fast. He moves well on loading events, and obviously tremendous when it comes to deadlifting and pressing. So decent events for Hicksy, and 100% could be a threat for the title. And finally, we have the two-time champion, Adam Bishop. As we said at the start, Adam coming back from a torn Achilles. This is a tough injury to come back from. However, it seems that Achilles injuries, or the surgeries for Achilles, have improved a lot, because we've had Trey Mitchell back super fast, Mateusz Kieliszkowski coming back super fast, and hopefully Bish will be in great shape for this contest. Bish is a fantastic strongman. We saw at World's Strongest Man this year, he was looking phenomenal in the heats. He has won this title before. He's been on podiums at Giants Live before. Tremendous deadlifter. The one weakness for Bish tends to be his overhead.
Yes.
There is an overhead event in there, and there's some very good pressers, but if he can pick up points on that, everything else he is supreme at. So, the 5 events for Britain's Strongest Man 2025. They're starting off with a sandbag steeplechase,
It's
and
his
I
bag.
believe this time with an extra bag.
Oh, painful. Like what year was it? Last year was the year of the sandbag steeplechase, wasn't it?
Yeah.
2023. Yeah.
It's a nice, simple way of doing it.
Oh,
I
yeah,
think
yeah,
visually it's pretty easy to watch. You know the athletes have to throw it over the kind of bar in the middle, and then go around and load onto the platform. 3 bags, however, so 6 times they're going to have to pick up these things. Going to be very, very taxing event to kick things off. I don't know if this is the exact order, but if it is, that's a tough one to start with.
Yeah, and looking at the names here, I really think it suits both of the Lukes, Bish, and the slimmer Graham.
Absolutely, but then like Paddy Haynes, Andrew Flynn, they're
true.
fast, athletic guys. So
Kane and Shane also.
This could
Actually,
be,
there's some really
it
fast
could be a
guys here.
really exciting start to the competition.
Yeah.
Then we move on to the deadlift ladder. I think it's going to be approximately 300 to 400 kilos.
Yeah, 400 at
Which
the end of the
we
line.
have seen before, and when it is 400, it's very, very tough.
Well, we had it at Europe's Strongest Man a couple of years ago. I think 22. It ended on 400. No one got it.
No. We've seen 380 a couple of times, and a few guys finish. And we've seen 400 at Worlds, I believe, where people have finished. We do have some great deadlifters. Obviously, Graham Hicks, Adam Bishop, Shane Flowers, very good at deadlifting. Luke Richardson, a great deadlifter. So, yeah, there's guys that could do very well. Paddy Haynes, also a really good deadlifter. So there's lots of athletes that move well. And again, that athleticism, the speed that they can get through them is very important as well. Should point out, the last time they did a deadlift ladder at Britain's Strongest Man, Gav Bilton finished it as well.
I was going to say Gav was very good.
And if it is heavier, with a 400 as the last one, that will suit him over a lighter speed run.
Yes.
Next up, everyone's favourite event, the medley, starting with a duck walk into Farmer's Walk. Now, if you know me well, you know that I hate a duck walk, so I'm glad I'm just going to be sitting out and watching this one. How could you put a duck walk with one of the best events there is, a Farmer's Walk? If you go back, I'm sure Liz can find the clip of me doing this event back in 2015 or something like that,
14.
where I go ass over tit.
Yeah, you did a roly-poly.
It cost me the title that
It
year.
did,
But anyway, enough of that. Starting off with the duck walk into the Farmer's Walk, and again, I think someone like Bish, Shane Flowers, guys that are a bit taller, slimmer in the legs.
Paddy should like
Paddy
this
will be
one.
really quick at this one. Andrew Flynn, I think guys like that really worth looking for. It's all about speed. You want to make sure that that duck walk isn't bashing into your quads. Guys with massive, massive legs tend to struggle a bit more on this one. And then we move on to the log lift for reps. Going simple this year at Britain's log lift for reps. I'm going to guess it's around the 150, 160 kilo mark. Heavy, and you know, you're looking at Luke Stoltman, you're looking at Graham Hicks on this one. Those two
And Luke
are
Richardson,
supreme.
I would say.
Luke Richardson, his log been improving rapidly. I would still give Luke Stoltman and Hicksy the nod over, although when it comes to reps, maybe that fitness is a little bit more important. Hicksy being a bit slimmer, hopefully his reps are feeling good. And yeah, this is where someone like Paddy Haynes is going to struggle a bit more, although he is working hard on his overhead. When you're looking at Luke and Hicksy, you're looking at two of the best log lifters, not just in Britain, but on the planet.
Yeah, however, just to play the devil's advocate, when was the last time we saw amazing... Oh, right, Graham, discount him, because when was the last time he even did a competition? Luke, though, he's not had incredible... log lift results.
No.
At the Arnold, he had to drop down to the lower log.
I think we have to go back to World Tour Finals when him and Tom, I think they tied on like 9 reps with 150.
Yeah, which was
That's
very,
a few
very
years
good.
back.
That was 2021.
It's a while back. His log hasn't been as good as it was.
No.
But he did look better in the overhead on the overhead medley
He's great at other overheads, yeah. He's sort of brought those up, but his log seems to
I
have
wouldn't
suffered a
count him
little.
out.
No,
That's all I'm saying.
I won't.
But yeah, Hicksy, obviously we haven't seen compete for a while in full comps, but we know how good he is, especially from Max.
Yeah.
And finally, Britain's strongest man, Atlas Stones. I should presume it's going to be the heavy set, and there is no Tom Stoltman, which makes things wide open.
It makes things more interesting. No offense, Tom, but it does, doesn't it? Because
It does indeed. And again,
with it being the deciding event also in the event of a tie, when Tom's in there, 99.9% of the time, you're going to expect him to win that.
absolutely, Tom's phenomenal when it comes to stones, but there is no Tom at this contest. So for me, if Shane can get over that bicep issue, his stones are fantastic. Paddy Haynes just recently lifted a 250 kilo stone. Very good stone lifter, as is Luke Stoltman, as is Bish, as is Luke Richardson, Gav Bilton.
Yeah.
They're all good at stones. And when it comes to that point of the competition, I say it every comp, but it's who's in contention. Sometimes if you've drifted down that leaderboard, you've got to go out early on the stones. You don't have that motivation. You just want to finish them.
Yeah.
Whereas when you get to go light towards the end, there is more tacky on the stones from previous athletes. There's times that you can see to beat. If people make mistakes, you can relax a bit and think, okay, I just need to do them. If people have put great times in, you're going to see guys really have to push and take a risk. But going towards the end is a big advantage when it comes to stones. And we have a lot of good stone lifters, so it should be a very exciting finish. There is no clear favourite for this year's Britain's Strongest Man.
No, I don't think so either. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 that wouldn't surprise me at all if they won.
Have you got any early predictions without seeing too much of people's training, and we're a few months out still?
I'll give you one name. Luke Richardson.
Yeah, he's my favourite for this one. I think he's well-rounded. I don't think there's a weak event in there for him. Bish is coming back from injury, so really hard to know what kind of level he's at, although I think a fit, in-shape Bish is very dangerous.
Yes.
Shane Flowers, if he can get that confidence in the bicep, he is improving all the time. And I'd love to see Gav back at his best.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, I think both of us probably would have Luke Richardson as the favourite right now.
Yeah. So we are ridiculously early with this one. It's not until the 1st of February, and it will of course be streamed on official Strongman. Tickets are still available from the Giants Live website as well, and we will be there in person, our first competition of 2025.
We are looking forward to it. Guys, let us know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll catch you guys next time.